Okay, let's go. Deadpool 2 full trailer now out, and I know that I have said in the past I try and avoid trailers after initial teasers. It does depend on the movie. Some movies I'm much more worried about being spoiled than others. Deadpool as a franchise so far at least has not been particularly plot heavy. The plot has not been the reason you go, so I'm not necessarily as worried about getting a better sense of what the heck is going on. So I did watch this trailer. There's some stuff that I like. There's some stuff that I'm iffy on. It's all going to be a question of how it balances. Now, before I get into this, let me say I am not addressing any of the back and forth questions about how well the movie did or didn't test. Long story very short, there was a rumor that came out that its test screenings were horrible. And then official numbers came out about the test screenings that actually showed it to be incredibly high. I don't want to deal with any of that. I'm just not dealing with it. All I'm talking about is the trailer that dropped today. That's it. So, how did this go? Well, it gave me what I would want out of a second trailer for something like Deadpool. It gave me a little bit more of a sense of what the structure, at least initially, is going to be and what folks' roles in this thing is. So we get a little bit more of Cable, and it looks like, at least initially, that he and Deadpool are going to be at odds. It looks like Deadpool is trying to stop what Cable is trying to do. I have no doubt that will not be the case for the whole movie, and, you know, at some point, they are going to team up, and there will be some other villain, because, I mean, Cable's going to be the straight guy to Deadpool. That is the dynamic that works when you pair those two characters together. So I do think it is smart, though, as far as a trailer goes, to only show us segments of them being against each other and not giving away stuff that probably doesn't happen for, I don't know, 45 minutes or an hour into the movie. So that's a good call as far as that goes. Josh Brolin definitely playing this straight, and he looked pretty good in the part. I think it's solid casting as far as that goes. I don't want to say I badmouth Josh Brolin. I've never been overly impressed with him, but he feels like a good fit for Cable, so I'm down with that. I love the little bits that we get of Domino. I'm very excited to see how she pans out. There's Terry Crews for all of one shot, but that alone makes me smile because I really like Terry Crews. I'm a big Brooklyn Nine-Nine fan. What can I say? And then, of course, there's Deadpool himself, and we've got other recurring characters. We've got T.J. Miller coming back, and Miranda Baccarin, and whoever plays the taxi driver, I don't know his name, and his blind roommate, and all of that. So, I like the amount of plot that we got. The plot that we got so far looks like solid foundation to be doing this movie on. Oh, Negasonic Teenage Warhead's back, too. That's a big one for me. That's a big win. But, so what do we have beyond that? Well, we get some more looks at the action, which looks good. It looks hard-hitting, and it looks, most importantly, more varied, because ultimately, when you actually broke the first Deadpool down, there were really only 2-3-ish action scenes in it. They were just broken up in weird ways to have it be spread more across the movie. But that did mean that we kept coming back to the action scene that's going on the overpass, and we keep coming back to that for a while, and they stretch several scenes and sequences out of that. This, we're getting a lot more variations on setting, so it looks like they're not being as restricted as far as what they can afford to do, what they can afford to set up. But the action still looks good. It still looks fun and hard-hitting. Oh, another high point, the music cues. I like them both. I love how it starts with I'm All Out of Love, and then Deadpool just running. I love that Deadpool, even though he is basically indestructible, still has, you know, what some would consider a reasonable response every now and again to being vastly outnumbered, and I'm assuming at that point maybe being out of ammunition, which is just to run. So I like that. Does it make sense? Could he take them? Yeah, probably still, but it's funny, so we do it. So I'm fine with that. Normally I'm not huge on the kind of humor that feels like it doesn't totally match characters, but him being a meta character, he's allowed to sort of bend those rules a little bit, which brings us to the humor. Now, the humor that I like best, as you might have guessed, was the meta humor. I really enjoyed the jokes about we need them young enough to be in a sustainable franchise for 10 to 12 years. I love that joke. I loved the please tell me they got that in slow-mo joke. Those were great. What I didn't love, and what frankly made me cringe, were the poop jokes, the jokes that seem to just be, hey, he said a bad word. Now, I don't have a problem with cursing. I mean, I try not to do it on my own channel, but it's not because I'm a prude. I'm not like, oh, my sensitive ears. But like, to me, the joke has to be more than just the swear that you said. It is possible for a swear to elevate a joke, but it can't be the joke in and of itself, at least not for me. That doesn't work. And you know, bathroom humor almost never works for me. That's a rarity. Now, that's not me going that therefore it's bad. That's me pointing out that there are still humor elements in this that are not the kind of humor that resonates to me, and they're sharing space with the kind of humor that I really love. So how much I'm going to enjoy this movie, because I'm definitely going to see it, is going to come down to where the balance is and what the percentage is of the meta jokes to the poop jokes to just not even overdoing humor and just letting the action scenes be action scenes, how much comedy's worked into those action scenes. That's the thing. I think this movie has all the components and the pieces and the cast and the concept to be really, really good, but it's all gonna come down to the blend and the mixed, how those things actually work together. I think they will work together, but it is really, at least for my taste, a question of percentages. What gets the most emphasis? And while I did not love moments like in the beginning with a taxi driver saying he crapped his pants and Deadpool going, no, I think that was me. I'm like, that made me immediately lose the smile that I'd had with the initial joke of him, you know, running to the taxi. But then other stuff happened that gave me that grin back. So it really is just going to come down to how often does that happen and how quickly do we move away from it. Because another thing that I generally like in comedy is fast-paced comedy. Boy, you can't snap very well with these sorts of gloves on. Hang on. Fast-paced comedy. So the main reason that I like fast-paced comedy is when you keep a good pace, that means that even if a joke fails, you move off of it so quickly that it doesn't really hurt the movie that well. It's when jokes get drawn out that if it doesn't work, it becomes insufferable. So I think everything that I'm seeing here is leaning towards I'm at the very least gonna like it and possibly even love it. We will see. For the record, my feeling on the first one was really good and a really good time, but I could see where it was limited in terms of its budget and sort of working with an origin story narrative. This version of Deadpool, of Wade specifically, like when he doesn't have the mask, seems a lot more carefree, which I am down with. He was a little angsty in the first one, which was fine. I mean, introductory stuff, we got to get audiences used to him, but they know him now. Let's go wild, and that is what I hope we will get from Deadpool 2. So those are my thoughts on the second trailer for Deadpool 2, or DP2, or is it actually getting released as Untitled Deadpool sequel? I actually don't know. I haven't been able to confirm that. But whatever it's being called, what are your thoughts on the new trailer? Whatever they are, drop something down in the comments. Let's talk about it. Do all the stuff like and subscribe and support me on Patreon, maybe, you know, if you like what I do. So links for all that stuff and more is down in the description. So until next time, this council is adjourned.